Yeah, we are recorded now, so
What branch of the military were you in?
let's see. Let me read this. What is your relation? What? Oh, do you want me to start up here?
Sure.
Okay. The question is the name of the person that you're interviewing. Well, of course, I'm your great-grandpa. I'm James Johnson. During the war, I was a sergeant with the infantry ending up in Europe, in Germany. And in any event, what else is on there that you want me to answer?
How many years of service?
How many years of service? Oh, I put a note here that I registered for the Army in April of 1943, and that was the time that I graduated from high school. We were required to register on our 18th birthday, and so I was drafted into the service. I did not volunteer, but no one did at that time. We were 18 years old out of the high school, and I shouldn't say nobody did, but we expected to be going right after high school into the service, and that is just what happened in my case. And I was on active duty actually from December 15th of 1943, when I was transferred to Fort Sheridan, Illinois for registration and getting uniforms and the like. And I served until May of 1946, and I was discharged at that time. And now, do you have did I answer that okay?
Mm-hmm.
What caused you to join the military? Well, like I had mentioned, I was drafted into the military. It was all of the those who became 18 years old were drafted into the military. And I have something that I could read here, if maybe that would be well to do. It sort of summarizes perhaps some of the things that you were talking about. At the time, at that particular time, I went to Camp Lee, Virginia, for basic training. And prior to going overseas, I had infantry training at Fort Benning, Georgia, as well as at Camp Howes, Texas. We were then shipped to an embarkation center, and I left New York Harbor on the Queen Elizabeth, which was a big luxury liner, and during peacetime, we were able to make it over to Glasgow, Scotland in 6 days. And from Glasgow, Scotland, we went immediately down to Plymouth in England, which is on the English Channel. we went across the English Channel during the night, and we were put on and landed in Le Havre, France. We were then put on into boxcars and taken to Liège, Belgium, where we were issued our weapons and equipment for combat. All of the bridges were down on the Rhine River, and so we were unable to get across the Rhine until pontoon bridges were built that would take our bigger guns and our trucks from ammunition across. And I was at Koblenz in Germany, which would be east of the Rhine River, at the time that the war ended. And so, is there something more there than that you wanted to ask, Hope?
I don't think so.
Okay.
How have you experienced? Wait.
Changes. Exchanges. Well, I guess I could answer that question best, Hope, by saying that the Army gave points for people that were over for the time you spent in the service, and you could use those points towards education. And I went to a pre-law school in River Falls, Wisconsin, and ended up in law school at Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa. And it certainly changed my life. My wife and I, Marion and I, were married in 1947. And through her working and my working somewhat while going to school, we were able to get through. And so that, I guess, that is the thing that changed my life the most. And something that I could not have afforded had I not gone into the service at the time. And I think that I would, while this is being televised, maybe I should read this, and you could, and then Hope can go through it later on. Would that be fine?
That's good.
And in any event, let's see, I have down here, let's see now. Let me see if I find something here that, in any event, we were, so many things that so long ago that I forgot a lot of it, but I do recall the significant things that happened before entering Germany. As a matter of fact, it was at Liège, Belgium, that we used to lay on the hillside, and when time permitted, and see the airplanes, the bombers go over just constantly, and just a big roar, and it made us real proud that we could to see the danger that these people were going through, and that we were on the right side of the war. After the war ended, I was in Koblenz at the time, and then I was sent to Regensburg, Germany, and there they were building a stockade, a prison-like structure with housing and so forth for German SS prisoners that were taken. That too was an experience, that I wasn't there too long, and I was shipped to a small town, sort of a resort town that is like a resort, like a suburb of Munich in Germany. And I was in the civil censorship division, and that was an area where that was a place where all of the German mail going in and out of the country was censored by those older people that were hired that could read and write the German language. I was placed in the mess hall at that time as one of the shift leaders, and I ended up as being the mess sergeant for that mess hall. It was quite an experience. I was on leave at the time, just prior to coming back to the United States. I was going through Switzerland with a group, and it was just really unbelievable after being in Munich, where there was so much devastation, and being in the service there where everything was blown up, and then to go into Switzerland and see the beautiful shops, and it was so much like in the United States. So I got I was there on a 10-day leave. When I got back to the Munich, then I was asked by the mess sergeant to get ready by the first sergeant to get ready because you're on your way back to the United States, and they've already left a couple of days ago, so we'll catch up with them. And we got in a Jeep, and I threw my stuff into a bag, and away we went. And we left Germany at Bremerhaven in the northern part of Germany, went back through the English Channel and ended up in New York Harbor. So that was my experience. Do you have any specific questions there that I could answer or try to?
I don't think so.
Let's see now. I guess I answered maybe most of those for you already. I see there was one about, it was one question about, let's see, I guess that answered. Are there any other things you would like to share? I think that is about it, unless you have other questions, Hope. But it was a significant part of my lifetime, and I thoroughly have been appreciative of the opportunity to serve the country. Not only that, but to get the education that I never could have gotten without being in the service meant an awful lot to myself.